In this episode, I talk about my biggest business influences. Welcome to episode 134 of the Honest Entrepreneur Show, where I help creatives like you to master your marketing. My name's Tom Ross, and let's get into it. I am currently trying to make an effort, guys, to stay more hydrated, and I freaking suck at it. Honestly, everyone in our office is great. They've got like big 2-3 litre bottles out there. They're clearing away the whole thing, and I'm just running between meetings. I probably have like one glass of water during my whole day. By the time I'm 60 years old, I'm going to look like a freaking prune of a human being, and I'm only going to have myself to blame.
This question is from Amy. Who do you look up to for marketing expertise? Where did you learn?
Great question, Amy. I look up to a few people. So I would say there's probably been like 3 big influences on me. And I might have talked about this before, but I really believe that we are all a recipe of our mentors and our influences and ourselves. And I think that's great because it allows us to pick and choose the bits that we like and maybe neglect some of the areas that we don't. Because I don't think anyone should be a carbon copy of anyone else, but having mentors, having influences is a tremendous thing. So for me, back in the day, it was the guys at Fizzle. They are the ones that helped. This is like a membership site for entrepreneurs. So I was very active there. I went through a bunch of their courses. It really kind of rewired me with the fundamentals of online business. So highly recommended. I even won some mentorship from some of their founders. And then they've recently had me back on their podcast, which was pretty cool as like a success story from their alumni. But you've probably heard me mention this on the show. My mentor there told me my favorite thing in marketing, where he says, don't use your audience, serve them. And that's something I quote again and again and again. And that really flipped things because I, like so many others, was behaving very selfishly in my marketing. And he made it much more about community, about caring for people, about bringing them value. And that really set me on a new path. So that's number 1. Number 2, Gary Vee. Love him or hate him. I know he's like Marmite for a lot of people. I think he's a tremendous businessman. I think he's so astute with all the points he makes. I actually heard him years ago. I mean, like very, very early phase, like 2007 kind of time. And I wrote him off because I was like, who's this obnoxious loudmouth? He's got a real whiny voice. I hate this guy. And that was so naive of me because then I tuned back into him probably a couple of years after that. And I was like, okay, he is kind of whiny, but he's also talking a lot of sense. And the deeper I went, the more I learned. So I've got all of his books. He has been a huge influence on me. I love how he thinks about content. I do like his work ethic. I know there's been some issues around the whole hustle culture thing, and I personally push back on that as well. But I'm not going to lie, he taught me a whole new work ethic. When this guy is like showing you how you can do it and really kind of living and breathing that hustle lifestyle. In that particular phase of my life, I think I needed that. And I went from a slightly lazy guy to someone who was outworking everyone in the room and achieving heights that I never thought I was capable of. So from a motivational standpoint, but also the business savvy and like the real actionable things. I know now he's kind of a motivational guy. Back when I was consuming him, he was doing like the Ask Gary Vee show, similar format to this, with very tactical business advice. Way before that as well, very, very tactical stuff, much more geeky about business. He's gone a bit broader now, and I don't kind of love that stuff as much. But yeah, I think he's one of just the entrepreneurs of this generation. And also Steve Bartlett, he's the CEO at Social Chain, who are this huge social media agency. He's from Manchester in the United Kingdom. I actually met him recently. I went to one of his talks, and possibly some of you listening and watching right now, did this kind of guerrilla marketing thing using your stories to help get me on his radar while I'm in this auditorium. I ended up having a chat with him, and he committed to having a 15-minute call with me. So that's a whole other story. But the reason I like Steve so much is he's very, very honest, very upfront, quite philosophical. He's only 26 years old, but he just talks so much sense. He's an incredible entrepreneur. Again, very hardworking, and someone I kind of aspire to emulate certain elements of. But then with that, I get to pick and choose. So I love what the Fizzle guys are doing, but equally they're a bit more hands-off lifestyle business. So they don't want to be doing hundreds of DMs every day and be really hands-on with their community every waking second. They kind of cherish their personal lives more, and that's fantastic for them. But I love that community building stuff, so I kind of take a little bit of them. And then Gary V, it's like I take the motivation as and when I need it, but it's not all the time. If I'm burnt out, no Gary V for me. And then Steve Bartlett is like, well, I love his frank honesty in his podcast, and I listen to every episode of that, and that helps inspire me to give so openly in my own content and just kind of bear all and be myself and not hold back and not have that filter. So I really do take elements of all of them. I mix them together. I add my own personality, and hopefully the result through this show is something unique and compelling. Question of the day: who are your biggest influencers in what you're currently doing? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I appreciate you guys so much. I'm really enjoying the YouTube show. If you are too, then be sure to hit the subscribe icon and tick the little bell to get notifications when I post new content on this platform.